I'm starting to paint my panels for the baggage compartment. I've got panels for the lower baggage compartment painted. I don't have them painted, I have them through primer. These are the rest of the panels here. We've got one more on the right side, upper rear baggage compartment. And then this is for the left side of the upper rear baggage compartment. And then the rear bulkhead for the upper rear baggage compartment, and then these are the panels that I made to go over the top of the baggage compartment. The first thing I did on these, I started with the lower baggage compartment because that goes in first. This aluminum, the aluminum sheet that I made these out of, came with a vinyl sheet on both sides of it. So the first thing I had to do to get these ready to paint was to peel that vinyl off of these. And then I took some lacquer thinner and saturated a rag with some lacquer thinner and washed these panels down with lacquer thinner. And then once I washed it real good with the lacquer thinner, then I just took regular paint thinner and washed it down with paint thinner, and that gets the residue of the lacquer thinner off. Then I wash it down one more time with Prep-Sol to make sure it's perfectly clean. And I'll take some more panels down there now and do them. Actually, I may just take this one upper side panel down because it's real long. And the first coat on here is a wash primer. It goes on real thin, water thin, and it's just basically an etch primer. And it etches and bonds into the metal, and I think it's probably got chromic acid in it to help protect the aluminum from corrosion. So we'll put a wash primer on, and then just a light coat of a primer. PPG DP40 is what I used to use, and now it's all reformulated with different numbers. And the DP40 was a green gray. I used to really liked it. I've got the white primer now. Well, here's my paint booth. Built it I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, as a sandblasting booth and a paint booth. It was just cobbled together. I had a couple timbers there. I laid down on some blocking to get them level, and then the floor was something I built 10 years ago or so to use in a hangar, friend's hangar, when we put the airplane in there in the winter to work on it, to get the wings up high enough to clear some of the obstacles in his hangar. Basically, this building is just 2x4 lean-to shed, and we've got a tarp plastic on the roof and then a heavy tarp over the top of that. And I just lined the inside of it with visqueen. I just put fresh plastic in it here yesterday, day before yesterday, on the floor and everything to keep the dust down. I've got hanger there in the center. It's just some welding rod hanging from some nails from the rafters, and then a piece of conduit that I can hang my parts from. So we've got one piece hanging on there now, and I've got an infrared heater in here that can turn on to help cure the paint when it's done. And that over there is just an old fan out of an old furnace used to collect the dust and overspray and stuff and try to keep dust down in here. Well, here's the paint mixing. We've got this is lacquer thinner used for cleaning the guns. This was washed out this cup after it had mixed the paint in it, and then it's fairly clean lacquer thinner. I use it for the first wash of the guns. Actually, this is the dirty stuff. I use it for the first wash now. This is the wash primer mixed, what's left from yesterday, and this is a little bit of primer left over from yesterday. And it's been cool in here in this shop, so it'll be good for today. It'll work for today. This is the wash primer that I use. It's a PPG DX 1791, and you mix it with 1792 1-to-1, and then it takes a half hour or so of dwell time to get everything all working together, to get it after it's mixed. And it just goes on water thin. I've had this stuff for years. I don't know how many years I've had it. I had a couple gallons of it, and I decanted it as the gallons got down. I decanted it down into these quart containers, and this is the last one of those I have left. This is the catalyst for it, the DX 1792. I put it in the cans and then fill the cans up with CO2 to reseal them, and it makes this paint last a long time. It doesn't skin over or anything, but this stuff is still thickened up over the years, so it's supposed to go on water thin, and it's a little bit thicker than that now. Here's my paint guns. This one, both of them are just cheap Harbor Freight guns. This one, well, it's not a full quart, it's a bigger gun. And then I used this little touch-up gun. I've got a SATA, SATA touch-up gun, and I really love it. It works really great. It sprays a great finish on and everything else. And this one doesn't quite work as well as the SATA, but it's actually not too bad. The biggest problem with these guns is when you go to clean them up, and if you soak them very long or anything, all the seals fall apart in them, so they're a one-shot only gun. So for doing the dope work, this is probably what I'd use. I've done dope work and stuff before with the good guns, and they're really hard to clean out. You got to use MEK to clean them. I loaned one out one time to a friend of mine, and it pretty much ruined the gun. So I think I'd recommend using these Harbor Freight ones for I've got a new addition to my painting regime this year. It's a Breathe Cool. It's a fresh air supplied system for using in contaminated areas to supply fresh air. Now, for years, spraying, I've used different types of respirators. I usually try to get real good ones with organic vapor and filters and a charcoal filter. But even so, with some of the paint that you use, the vapors still come through. This year I'm going to be using a Durethane, and it's a long chain isocyanurate, whatever, and the stuff gets in and bonds to your lungs and fills them up and causes all kinds of problems like that. So you're definitely supposed to use a fresh air system with it. I got this system, and trying it out, and I'm happy with it so far. It works pretty good. I got it off of eBay, and it was one of the few places that would ship by U.S. mail. Here's the first coat of wash primer on there, and this is the way it's supposed to look here. This is on too thick. Thinning that out helped, but I had too much paint volume. Well, I needed to turn my paint volume down on the gun some more. And so it wound up coming out a little bit thick still, quite a bit thick still, and my motions were a little bit too slow. I'm still painting, but while I'm waiting for paint to cure enough to move the pieces and recoat them, I'm cleaning up these stainless steel strips that I made for the floorboards here. I went over them with a Scotch-Brite pad on my little die grinder, and that cleaned them up, polished them up, but it leaves swirl marks on them. So I'm going to try to see if I can polish them up some more. I've got a buffing wheel and some Triple E compound, and away we go. A little shady in here. Can't see real well, but so far that looks like it's doing a really good job. That is looking really good. I got all my panels painted. Got the last piece in the paint room now. These last two that are hanging up here, they're not cured yet. Ran out of paint last night for them, and I kind of quit for the night. Mixed up some new paint this morning and squirted them today, and so they're still soft. Of course, all of them are still soft because they were just done. I put panels in the lower baggage compartment, lower rear baggage compartment. They're in there now and all screwed down, and looks pretty good. Got the stainless steel trim strips along the bottom, and they don't look too bad if you don't look too close.
Looks really nice.
Stained finished wood contrasts nicely with the panels there and the stainless steel. So anyway, it's looking pretty good. Keep working on it now.